I'm the Executive Director of Open Studio. Open Studio is one of the oldest artist-run centers in Canada. It is a studio that is dedicated to printmaking. We have different kinds of facilities here. Here our exhibition area is a small but presents print in all sorts of different ways, both traditional print and experimental print. Open Studio was started in 1972 by three artists, Richard Sewell, Don Holman, and Barbara Hall. It grew from a small storefront on Queen Street, which is not too far from here, to a location on King Street, to finally here at 401 Richmond. We are now in the process of changing our archive, which was started in 1972 by those three artists. And one of the things that I arrived in 2017 realized that we had to do something. So now we're in a process of going from an archive, which is made up of close to 10,000 prints, to a collection of smaller, maybe just over 2,000. But right now we are in the process of creating an oral history of Open Studio, and we are documenting the stories through different artists that were a part of different decades that worked in the studio, but also were part of Toronto art scene. So if you can follow me through this little maze of things, we'll go to the archive. So this is our archive now, and this is where we store all our prints. When I arrived, it was kind of a scary thing because it was really uncontrollably large and things weren't properly cared for. So over the past 4 years, myself and Rebecca Travis, who is our curator and collections manager, have been working to organize it and create a better way of caring for it. We were lucky enough to get a grant from Heritage Canada, and now we're working with the Ontario Trillium Foundation to create the proper care and the documentation of all the archive. One of the first things I saw when I first came was I was looking in a drawer similar to this and just trying to find out what we had in our archive, and I opened it up and it was piled high with prints, and at the very top, very close to the top, there was this print, and I go, oh my God, that's a Michael Snow. But it was so endangered of being ruined because of the amount of prints we were storing, which was not the proper way of caring. So what we've been doing is creating better care for the prints, but also looking at documenting and creating a database of the prints. So right now I'm just going to walk you back out to introduce you to our archivist.
Hi, my name is Angela Pierce-Segovia. I'm the archivist here at Open Studio. I'm tasked with taking care of our archive and our new Open Studio print collection of approximately 2,500 prints. And I'm working with Erica, our archival assistant, to catalog, digitize, and create a database for our archive.
So this is the entrance that artists will come in, and we have 24/7 access to these studios. And we have close to 164 members right now who rent space and use the facility. You know, one of the things when people arrive and kind of walk into the space, they go, oh my God, it's huge, it's massive. So we're lucky to have a large space here at 401 Richmond, and we're the largest leaseholder. And it's pretty extensive in terms of the equipment we have and the space we have. So I'm just going to show you the four different areas. One is the litho area over here, which has 3 litho presses and multiple stones. So it's kind of created so that artists can work on the 3 different presses, and all the stones, the grinding station, it all facilitates the creation of lithographs. Over here is the intaglio area, and we have 5 presses, large presses and small presses for artists to work on. And then back over here, we are now in the process of creating a much more stronger area for letterpress. So we have a vendor cook that people are starting to use more and more, and we will look to kind of create a more designated area for the letterpress. These are all the flat files for all the artists to store their prints, and over here are all the screens that artists use for the screen area. This is the screen area. It's quite large. We have 4 large screen setups and then multiple smaller screens. One of the big aspects of us in terms of what we do and what our mandate is to have classes. So we have an extensive education program which gives non-print people the opportunity to learn different aspects, whether it's screen, litho, or intaglio. And you can see in the drawing racks a project that we're working on for a visiting artist. And so that's another big part of our project where we invite artists to come in and work on certain projects. We're just going to walk back, and we're going to go back into the office area. And maybe if Rebecca is off her mask and able to talk to us, we'll have her say a few words.
Hi, yes, my name is Rebecca Travis, and I'm the Curator and Collections Manager. I've worked with Open Studio for about 4 years now, and the archive has been an ongoing project since I started here. We're currently going through a really exciting process to curate a 2,000 or so piece collection from a 10,000 piece archive, trying to make sense of what that archive holds and how we can actually incorporate it into our programming and activate it in a way that it hasn't been activated before.
We hope to create a collection which we could then hopefully move to a larger institution, because right now we are not, in our mandate, we are not an organization that can properly care for prints in the long term, and we were hoping that once we finish this project of creating the collection, we can kind of bring it to another organization which would be able to take care and present and exhibit the prints which we have in our collection.
So the way we've been working to determine what will go into that 2,000 piece collection is to pull together committees from artists who worked at Open Studio at different time periods, artists who are currently involved in the membership of the studio, and also members of the wider art community to have discussions about which prints will stay within the collection and which will move forward. And already those discussion points have been a way to activate the collection in a way that it really hasn't had for a really long time.
Thank you so much.